Hey friends, so welcome to DBC Live. It's our Thursday night, free PD night. We will be giving away a book tonight. This is just a great night to be here. And we are so excited for anyone who is joining in live, or if you're joining on the playback. We know that a lot of you are putting babies to bed, you're getting ready for the next day of school, and we are a family-friendly company. So we get it if you're watching this on the playback. We won't actually choose a winner until tomorrow or the next day anyway. So feel free to watch it, add some comments over in the comment section, because that is how you're entered to win a free DBC book of choice tonight. So super excited about that. But before we just take too much time, I want to introduce our amazing guest, Dr. Rob Martinez. Super duper excited to have him on the show. He is actually one of our future authors. He's working on a book that you are going to absolutely love. And once it's out, then you can choose his book. But for tonight, you'll get to choose from our list of lots of books. And we are so happy to have you here tonight, Rob. Please do tell us a little bit about you, what you do, just in case people don't already know you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for inviting me, Tara. It's such a great feeling to be part of the DBC family and to be connecting with you and all of our other authors in our process. And yeah, I'll share a little bit about me. You know, I'm a 35-year educator, and I just tabulated the other day. It was my 54th first day of school. And people said, wow, you've worked a long time. And I said, well, no, I started at 4. Come on. I'm not, that old. And but it was just an amazing experience. And, in that time as an educator, I was a school psychologist, directly hands-on with families and teachers and support personnel for our students for over half my career. And then I moved into site administration as an assistant principal and principal of actually a 1,200 student 4-track year-round school in the early 2000s. And we were just always go, 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 and had to re-envision life, every 20 days, because a group would come and a group would go. And this was our life with not having a lot of facilities. I moved into kind of district administration. I was a human resources director and assistant superintendent. And then now I've spent a few years as a superintendent and just kind of moved into a new superintendency, the Griffin Technology Academies, which is located in Vallejo, California. And we serve 1,500 students right now. Often are students of socioeconomic disadvantage, but we're creating middle schools and high schools to meet their needs and get them into college courses as part of their high school curriculum. So some of our students are actually intended to graduate with associate arts degrees at the same time they're graduating high school. So it's just a phenomenal opportunity to work with our students in our Vallejo community located in Northern California. And so, I've also, had that opportunity to do a lot of work on resilience. And, sometimes people ask me, well, why resiliency guy? And I say, oh, man, that's going to be in the book. But, the story is really, from my early days and kind of having some loss in my family and having some dysfunction, I'll say, early on. And I was one of those kids that could have easily been lost as a teenager and not part of our productive society. And yet it was through education and guidance from really one of my brothers who I ended up living with at 16 and said, you got to stay in school. You got to get a job to pay rent. You got to, cook your own food. You got to be responsible. And those lessons of living with him helped me really build a lot of personal resilience. And there's not a lot of magic in it. We can't sprinkle it on everybody's heads, but it really is through a process. So, I've done some work there, and that's what I hope the book brings to people is some process, in the future about their own resilience and how it can help us.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I think people are just going to resonate with that, especially after the couple of years that we've recently had. I feel like resiliency is probably, our resiliency levels are probably a little better than they once were.
Absolutely. You know, and that's one of the themes that I kind of talk about to my students and my staff and, you know, and my team. I mean, whoever I'm working with, right, that it has been a challenge. And, you know, when we think about this year and we can come off of a lot of trauma that people have experienced and a lot of experiences that have, you know, loss and frustration and losing our educational identity oftentimes through this process because of the many changes. And, you know, what I told my new staff the other day, and I had the luxury of meeting with my classified certificated support team, everybody welcoming. And we said, this could either be, you know, one of those situations where like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Or we can make it the best year ever for our students. And I talked them through that process for each of our students who is coming to our new programs, new schools, new classroom, has never seen this before. And it's really a magical time for us to do our best for them and start a new trajectory. So, you know, we really went through that process. And even this week, our school, our entire staffs have been just connecting with kids on a socio-emotional level, kind of re-engaging, re-supporting, letting them also know that we recognize their resilience. They've gone through it. It's so important and special. And so we have to value that because then it helps them realize how empowering they can be for themselves with our support. So it's just been a great start to the year.
Love that. I love that. And I think that's so very true. I think the more we can help not even our adult learners, like all learners, our little learners, our all ages of learners, understand, like, look and show them, look what you just went through. Like,
absolutely,
you are here. It's so empowering.
Oh no, did I lose you?
Sorry about that.
I'm back. live internet, you know.
I was trying to say something powerful, and now I don't even know what it was. It's okay. Let me turn the mic over to Rob before. I'm so sorry. I don't know what you heard on the back end because my husband's like fixing dinner, like it's all kinds of things happening. But thank you for joining us. We're going to turn the mic over to Rob. He has some wonderful things to share with us tonight. I don't know what I was going to say, but just feeling super powerful, and that is probably what it was. So, Rob, take it away, empower us, share something amazing, encourage us tonight, because a lot of us are just now starting school, and we need you to just tell us what's on your heart and your mind tonight.
All right, let's do it. Thank you so much, Tara. So, you know, the big thing that I want to make sure that everybody is thinking about right now is your own resilience. Right. We oftentimes think about resilience being something that is just saved for a few people. We recognize, athletes who have fallen down and gotten back up and run the race and won. We recognize those huge stories of people who have overcome insurmountable odds in their life to survive. But quite frankly, when I talk to people, you, my friends, my staff, our students, every single person has had experiences that they've overcome. Every single one of us has had challenges that we've persevered through. We learned how to move our bodies. We learned how to get through school. We learned how to survive in our families at different times. For me, there were some traumatic events in my early life. That doesn't make me more resilient than anybody else. Each of us has gone through different things of learning, failure, learning again. And so it is those opportunities, those experiences that have helped you get to your next level. Maybe it was some struggling processes as a child. Maybe it was difficulty in reading and acquiring, number sense if it was, or writing something, or putting together sentences, or learning a second language. So many ways in which you have been resilient. Every single time that you've been resilient, you've learned a new skill. You've learned a new experience. You've learned a new adventure that is added to your own resilience backpack. Think of it that way. I often saw my teenage kids playing video games, and they'd play that video game and they'd, do something great and they'd win a badge, or they'd learn a new potion, or whatever the game was. They were acquiring different things. And sometimes I'd ask them, what does that do? How is that going to help you? And what they'd say was, well, I'm not sure yet, Dad. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, this game has a lot of adventures. This game has a lot of episodes. And even though I got that right now, I might not know when I'm going to use it. But maybe in 2 episodes away, I need that potion. I need those magic words. I need the code. And so they dig into their backpack and they pull it out. Well, resilience is the same kind of concept. For each of us, we have these experiences that we've persevered through, that we've overcome, that we've gone through, and we've learned from them. Oftentimes, people forget. They forget the learning skills that they've gone through and those resources that we've been acquiring. You have many of them. You absolutely do. And our children do too. And so as we now are challenged with this year, and we look to think, how do I make it the best year ever? Part of that process is reassuring yourself that you can do it. Reassuring yourself that you've had experiences, whether it's getting through school, living through a difficult family, living through other personal challenges, whatever they may have been. And people can go through a process of recognizing that, not to get stuck, but to recognize how empowering those experiences have been. As you do that, as an educator, you'll also then start thinking about our children. The children who are coming to school this year are going to be very unique. Unique in their experiences, unique in their knowledge, unique in the resiliency skills that they've been acquiring. They have many resources that oftentimes other children of other times may not have acquired. Many of them have been surviving in their homes with more people than have ever existed before. Many of them have not had the internet capabilities, the technology capabilities, the advanced training of in-person instruction, because they've been working through, again, distance learning or difficult distance learning in this last 19 months or so. So the challenges have been there, but yet as they return this year to in-person instruction or potentially even independent study instruction, it'll be different. Here in California, our independent study programs are much different than our simple distance learning of the past. It really is a way to connect differently this year, and definitely in-person instruction with masks on. But I'll tell you what, every one of the children I've seen has been smiling with their eyes. And it's that recognition of us setting environments, creating environments where their now current resilience skills can flourish even higher is what's going to be important. Our students know that we are there for them. They do. They see it in us opening schools. They're excited to be back. So now as we accept them back in, wherever they are, wherever their learning is, that acceptance is going to guide them to more success. And the recognition that they've acquired skills that are going to help them. So that empowerment for them is a key factor for them, for us, and for our entire educational system. I really do believe that we can make this the best year ever. And, by setting up opportunities, the concept of, I'll say this, roaring for kids, finding results through opportunities and access via resilience is another kind of term that I've used, but it really is like just going, and getting out there for our kids because they deserve it. So when we don't have things working the way they should, let's fix them. When we have opportunities to connect and engage and support our families, let's do that. When we have opportunities to help our child learn anything, we set it up so that success can come to them. So
I love it. I love it. I think there's so many wonderful things about what you just talked about, Rob. And one of the things that just really stands out to me is what Vicki Wilson over here. She's also one of our amazing authors. You guys, we have the DBC family in the house tonight. But I love what she pointed out here. We keep saying kids are coming back with trauma, and they are. But she reminds us, and that you're reminding us, that they're also coming back with new resiliency. Absolutely. And if we can just focus on that and remind students of that, because not dismissing what they've gone through, of course, allowing them to feel all those things. It's very important as humans that we allow all the feelings, right? But I love it that I feel like what Vicki's saying here is we can channel some of that energy toward, look how strong, how resilient you are now. And then when we set up these opportunities or these new obstacles come in our way, then the kids are able to help us solve the problem. You're so resilient now. You understand how to get through a problem, and we can almost have this real life example that we can use to help them to engage in the learning, right? We're drawing in all these real experiences, putting them right in the place of the academic high stakes standards that we're trying to teach. And man, when you mix those two together, you really have a connection that's so authentic that kids can't help but be set up for this opportunity of success, right? Because they know, I have this new resiliency. This relates to the problem that we're trying to solve. And this all ties into this academic stuff that you're trying to teach me. Boom, that's the setup for perfect learning.
Absolutely.
And I love what you're saying here. And I appreciate how each one of us are in the comments are bringing out this idea of focusing on the resiliency. And I think that's so key. I mean, of course, you're the resiliency guy. But it's just nice to be reminded of that, even for my own self, even for us as teachers, as educators, as whatever field that you work in and you're listening to us, because everyone has had to develop new levels of resiliency through this past year.
Absolutely. I think you said something really key there as well, that it really is about each of us, right? And that's why I really value our classified staff, our support staff, our certificated staff. It's everybody, the parent volunteers. As I'm working with people, and, again, the concept and in the book that's developing is, lead with resilience, right? And it's not just about the superintendent or the principal. It really is everybody, from where we sit, from who we're working with. It's in our process. And it really is a process. It's not a program. It really talks about how I approach things to help you take your next step. One of the quotes that I oftentimes will use is, let the life we help others live be the measure of our success. It really is about not just what I can do, but what I can help you accomplish. And that's, and then once that child or teacher or educator accomplishes that thing, man, they're so much more empowered to be able to take on the next thing or face the next challenge. So that's where I kind of focus myself right now, in every connection, every relationship, is trying to figure out, what can I do to help? What can I do to help?
True. It's this collectiveness, right? And when we put all of our strengths together, I mean, that's when you have just like this force that you can't deny. It's so beautiful. It's so exciting. It's so powerful. Exactly. And I often think of this, these guys have heard me say this a bunch of times. If you're a common one sitting in the crowd tonight, sorry about that. But we talk about Cannonball Inn, and it's just a little picture book, right? But it's true, because one of the things you just said, Rob, you said, once they take that first step and they accomplish that thing, that you kind of help them along the way, right? You were just a guide on the side, and then they did the thing, and they feel empowered to take on the next one. It's the same with those cannonball jumps. Like, once you jump the first time and you make a splash, you're like, whoa, and you swim up and you didn't drown. You're right. Like, I just did that. I made waves. I did something. And I think that's how it is. And once you make one, then it's like, bring it. Like, I want to be on the highest dive next time. Or next time I'm going to try a flip. Or that's how students are too. That's exactly how they are. Because once they feel that empowerment and they realize, like, I'm strong enough to get through this, like, bring on the next one. Bring on the next challenge. I got this.
Absolutely.
And when we all start doing that and encouraging that as leaders, and I love that you're encouraging this resiliency as a leader, Vicki as well. She's a principal.
Right.
We all start having this collective resiliency. What? Watch out, world.
Yeah. It really, just the last thing I'll try and kind of shove in here is that, it really is about the heart, the mind, the soul, and the actions, right? It's that whole collective of recognizing where people are doing those things. And so, I challenge my staff. It's called the power of 12. It's recognizing, your students and your colleagues for showing you their heart, for helping somebody else's spirit soar, for, doing those things that matter, for expressing themselves and offering an opinion, where sometimes you get kids quiet in the back room, but they write something on the whiteboard and you see it and you're like, oh, that's fantastic. It's appreciating the mind and just calling out our kindness. Those little simple things can just really create that. And I think Alex Korb uses the upward spiral of movement at a school or in an organization. And I really believe that can change things for the better for all of us. So let's do it.
This morning I had a virtual keynote, and that's exactly what I talked about. I was just talking about this. It's the simple things that doesn't take us a lot of time as educators, honestly, but it's valuing and appreciating and letting our students and our learners of all ages, even adult learners, know that you are valued, you're appreciated, you're enough, and allowing their voice to be heard. It's the little things. It might take 2 minutes as a closer of your activity. And that's the thing, when they're 42 years old, that they still remember. and they still hold, like Mrs. S gave us a voice. Like we
That's right.
all had a voice. We all got to say something. And sometimes she even let us tell her a little bit about the lesson, and she changed it the next day. And so that is the kind of stuff that lasts for a lifetime. And if you think about it, as adults, we love it. We love it when our employers care about what we have to say. And so make time for that stuff, because that's where the resiliency is built in. It's also where that trust and that culture is built in. And when we have that, we can't help but have the best year ever. I mean, truly.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. You know, and I talked about, you know, to my staff a little bit. We might have thought I learned something 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So I'm going to use that thing again. And please, please reframe it for yourself. Get it in the eyes. And I was talking to another one of my directors today, and we said, you know, until we really see the perspective of our children, we're not seeing what we need to see. And we can't just see it by looking at them. We really need to engage, connect, support, and see it through their eyes. And that takes a challenge on our part to take the time and reflect and really ask and listen to tell us what they're seeing and how they're experiencing it, especially this year. But once we do that, again, those little changes we can make to a lesson, the way we bring kids in the classroom, just our entire, how they leave the school today, just little changes can make the world a difference.
So true. It's so true. Well, Rob, I know that I just totally appreciate your time. I know you have a board meeting after this. You just are a very busy man, but I know others are probably going to want to connect with you. So how can they connect with you on social media?
Sure. So again, you know, I kind of put it here. I'm known as @Resiliency Guy. You know, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Dr. Rob Martinez, you know, and email me. It's resiliencyguy@gmail.com. I mean, I'll get back to you. Again, I'm really excited about the book that's been kind of in the mind for years and years and years. And then you spit it out on the paper and you go, I hope this is making sense. So again, just so appreciative of the DBC team and the guidance. And I hope it really can resonate with people when we get it out there and connect with people. You know, I tell a little bit about my story. And so I hope that resonates with people, not to glamorize, but just to give examples really about, you know, some of the things that I think people go through. And then there's a reflective part. So each person, I hope, will gain something about their own story. And then it really is hoping that we're building our collective story together, right? And I talk about my recipe for resilience. So it's a little teaser there, but you know, it'll be in the book. And I just hope that it does resonate with people when we get it out there.
Yes, and it will be so soon. And thank you all for joining us tonight. If you're watching this on the playback, be sure and get your comments over in the comment section. Someone is going to win an opportunity to choose your own book from all of our DBC Inc. and Impress books right now. So you definitely want to get your comment over in the comment section for that purpose, because we will be choosing a random winner either tomorrow afternoon or Saturday. Sometimes I like to leave it up on the weekend to give you guys just a little more time to comment. But get your comments over there as soon as you can, and hope that you are a winner. We have a lot of amazing books out. Dr. Rob's book isn't out just yet, but it's coming soon, and he just gave you a little teaser. So remember, next Thursday, same place, same time, different guest, and we'll see you soon. Hope you're having a wonderful almost weekend. We're almost there. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Bye, everyone.